Imagine the panic you have as a scammer when you realize a simple YouTube video took down your entire network, because what started as a YouTube scammer prank somehow turned into a federal case involving $27 million, cryptocurrency laundering, and thousands of elderly victims. So a man showed up to what he thought was an elderly victim's house, expecting to collect hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, but instead, he walked into a fake funeral being staged by YouTubers.
They're coming to this house thinking they're about to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from a sick old man. But little do they know, it's all a trap to prank them and expose them for the entire world to watch.
I mean, this is just a chef's kiss. I know, I'm critical about pranks and IRL streamers and so on here on this channel a lot, but you can absolutely do them tastefully. And today's video is absolutely an example of that. Because in this case, there was a casket in the middle of the room, random piles of cash everywhere, and a guy dressed like a nun trying to convince him to pray over a dead body before taking the money. I mean, come on. At one point, the alleged cash mule looked so confused that it genuinely seemed like he thought he had walked into a haunted house by accident.
Listen, there is some accident happened this morning. Come here, look, it's here. Bingham?
Hi.
Yeah, come on in. So this is the guy Raymond, and unfortunately, like, I'm so sorry for your loss. This is the guy, he died this morning, and I invited Nan. This is Nan. Hey, we got this service. This is Nan Konorovich. Look, so this guy is dead, and he don't want to go to the heaven without owing people $350,000. So he told me to give all the money, all assistance, all money belongs to you. Okay?
And somehow this bizarre YouTube stunt would later become connected to a real federal fraud case involving more than 2,000 elderly victims and over $27 million allegedly stolen across the United States. And the man who's at the center of this case is Jiangdong Chen, also known as Little Tiger, a 42-year-old Chinese national who recently pleaded guilty in a federal court to participate in a massive fraud and money laundering conspiracy. The whole operation ran between 2021 and 2023 and targeted elderly victims across the country, with most of them being in their 70s, 80s, and even older. And the scams allegedly involved fake tech support calls, bank impersonation schemes, and government impersonation scams. And finally, refund frauds. So I guess victims would get pop-ups, emails, or random calls telling them there was a problem with their computer or an unauthorized charge was on their account. Then they would be directed to call numbers connected to the scam call centers based in India. Once the victim was then on the phone, the scammers would slowly build trust, and prosecutors say the victims were often convinced to download remote desktop software, giving the scammers direct access to their computers. These people are just burdens on society, but I guess then came the whole fake refund. So the scammer would pretend to send the victim money back to, I guess, some made-up charge, but during the whole transfer, they suddenly act panicked and claim they accidentally refunded way too much money. So instead of sending like $300, they would pretend to send something ridiculous like $300,000. And the victim would see a fake number on their screen. And the scammer would then immediately start freaking out, acting like they were about to lose their job or get arrested unless the money was returned. Except the only problem is the victim actually never received any money in the first place. And according to investigators, once the scammers convinced victims that they owed money back, they would direct them to send cash through wire transfers, express mail packages, or in some cases, hand it directly to people picking it up in person. And this is where this YouTube video comes in, because years before Chen pleaded guilty, a channel called Trilogy Media uploaded a video titled Confronting Scammers with a Fake Funeral. And honestly, I mean, the opening sounds kind of like the beginning of a low-budget horror movie mixed with some weird prank channel, because they open by saying,
You're about to see some scammers get a dose of their own medicine. We're about to confront some scammers and prank them at our sting house with a fake funeral gone wrong.
So the whole group rented a house, staged an entire fake funeral, filled the place up with props, and waited for the suspected cash mule to arrive, believing they were going to be picking up money from elderly scam victims. But what nobody realized was one of the men walking into that house would later end up pleading guilty to a federal fraud conspiracy case. So the YouTubers created a fake elderly victim named Mortimer, and essentially they were waiting around for someone to show up and pick up this cash. There was obviously a coffin in the room, fake memorial decorations, but underneath all this chaos, the actual scam that they were documenting was very real. The fake victim in this video keeps acting very confused while the scammer spirals into this like fake desperation, begging for the money back before, I guess, his supervisors find out. And then the scam shifts into its final stage, where the scammers start arranging ways to collect the money.
I leave tomorrow at 11:50 something.
So you have to tell your banker that she is one of your business associates and this is some business transaction which you're doing into her account for your personal business purpose. Let me type down and write down all the details to you, and then you can go to your bank. As you said, it's 10 to 20 minutes. And please make sure that this transaction which you're doing, it is it is my life and death thing. All right?
Okay, it's Pan Gillian. First name Gillian Pan.
Yes.
Bank name Hank Sing Bank Limited.
Okay, now take your driving license with you. Be confident. When you reach your parking lot of your bank, say hello to me. I will be holding the line with you.
Okay, I'm pulling into the bank right now.
Do not talk to me inside the bank. Simply put me in your pocket. When you are outside the bank, talk to me and make sure they will give you the receipt.
At first, they were trying to push wire transfers to Hong Kong accounts, but when that fails, they began coordinated physical cash pickups instead. So investigators say that members of the conspiracy physically traveled to retrieve the packages of cash from victims across the United States. Some victims mailed huge amounts of cash through express shipping services after being manipulated into believing they owed money back. Others, though, reportedly handed the money directly to pickup crews. And prosecutors say that Chen admitted that he used fake IDs and fraudulent driver's licenses to match fake names in order to retrieve those packages. Which honestly just makes the whole YouTube confrontation way more surreal in hindsight, because one of the people allegedly showing up to collect the money was now standing inside a fake funeral while YouTubers in costumes tried to, I guess, psychologically confuse him into admitting what he was doing. Like at one point, the cash mule walks into the room and is immediately told the elderly victim has died that morning. And then things somehow get even stranger because the YouTubers then start asking him to pray over the body before collecting the money. And one guy grabs his hand while dressed as a nun and starts delivering what might be one of the more unhinged funeral speeches I've ever heard.
We start like doing a prayer, and I'm holding the scammer's hand in my nun outfit, and Art's holding his other hand, and Art's saying the most ridiculous prayer I've ever heard in my life. And I think the guy started crying. The scammer started crying next to me.
Oh Lord, oh Jesus, I'm so sorry that it's happened. It was such a great soul. Raymond, it was a very, very good guy.
Meanwhile, the cash mule just stands there looking emotionally exhausted. But I mean, as weird as this fake funeral stuff was, the part that honestly stuck with me was mostly how normal some of these conversations sounded, because the scammers weren't screaming or acting cartoonishly evil. Most of the time, they sounded patient, calm, and weirdly polite, which is probably why these scams work so well on elderly victims in the first place. Because I mean, at one point in the video, one of the scammers spends nearly 20 minutes trying to keep the fake victim awake while waiting for a pickup crew to actually arrive.
Yeah, I hope you're not sleeping. It's Peter.
Yeah, I was dozing, but I'm here.
Okay, so this is how early you go to bed?
No, I take naps. I'm old.
Okay, good. Yeah, you could take it now, so when the guys get there, you will be up, because they're definitely on their way, okay?
And honestly, I mean, the conversation slowly becomes one of the strangest things I've heard in a while, because the scammer starts asking the fake elderly victim personal questions about his life, his family, and his health, while trying to convince him to hand over tens of thousands of dollars in cash. Hello. But then somehow the call turns into this like weird story time. So the fake victim says he's tired and is struggling to stay awake. So the scammer literally begins reading him fairy tales over the phone to keep him alert until the cash pickup arrives. I'm not joking. What is going on here? The alleged scammer is sitting here reading The Wolf of Seven Young Kids like it's bedtime at a daycare center or something like that. And again, this is all while he's trying to coordinate someone to go pick up tens of thousands of dollars of cash to scam this fake victim.
Then the wolf went away to a shopkeeper and bought himself a great lump of chalk. So you know the wolf is trying to disguise himself, right?
Yeah, it's my favorite part.
Then he put his paw in through the window.
Peter, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta defecate.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Thank you for this outstanding reading.
I mean, this just sounds like an Adult Swim skit at this point. Like, dude, why wouldn't you put this energy into making money the legitimate way? How about not putting this much dedication into scamming innocent victims? But hey, underneath the craziness, you can also see the manipulation tactics happening in real time. The scammer repeatedly tells the victim not to trust family members, not to tell nurses or neighbors what's happening, and definitely do not involve the bank. Well, if you hear anything like that, run. Fun fact, that's also how cults operate, because like, you know, the moment someone starts isolating you from the people around you, something bad is happening. You don't want to be around them. Because according to the DOJ, investigators identified more than 2,000 victims nationwide who collectively lost over $27 million between 2021 and 2023. $27 million. That is crazy money. Like, that's the part where the story stops feeling like a goofy YouTube video and you realize, oh wow, these guys thankfully exposed the scum of the earth. Because unfortunately, for every bizarre cash pickup that's caught on camera, there's probably hundreds or even thousands of them happening in real time that we don't know about. And the whole operation itself sounded incredibly organized. Federal prosecutors say that the conspiracy used fake identities, coordinated package pickups, cryptocurrency laundering, and interstate travel. And of course, overseas call centers connected to India. So, absolute scumbags, and thankfully some of them are being held accountable now. But this allegedly functioned like an actual business. Like, there were people making the calls, people, I guess, manipulating victims, people arranging the deliveries, and people physically retrieving the money. And of course, people then laundering the proceeds through cryptocurrency later on. And 20 years ago, this probably would have stayed hidden for a lot longer, until these meddling kids showed up with a YouTube video. Because thankfully, in this age and time, people hate scammers. And now you have people who have entire careers around exposing scammers, thankfully. So obviously you have scam baiters, live streamers, hidden cameras, viral clips, and just people, you know, milking scammers for all the content possible. And the scammers absolutely deserve it. Because if you make a living off of destroying innocent people's lives, you absolutely deserve to be blasted on the internet. And in this case, Jungdong Chen later admitted in federal court that he participated in this conspiracy.
Which language do you speak? Mandarin? What Chinese? Mandarin?
Chinese.
Okay, but is it Mandarin? I don't know. There's many different languages in China. Mandarin?
Mandarin?
Yeah, no, I understand English. Come on, Penguin, you don't have to like play these games. No, it's all friends. We all friends. It's okay, Penguin. Don't scare about him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. You're the only one bad guy. Penguin, you bad guy. But it's okay. We'll fix you.
This is illegal. Illegal. You know that?
Ding Pangzi, you know? Ding Pangzi.
Oh my God, your English is just downgrading right now. Like your English,
Sorry,
your English just going down.
No, say.
You talk to me so beautifully English. Penguin.
Slow.
Slow? Okay,
yeah.
slow. Good guys, bad guy.
At first, in the YouTube video, the guy speaks English normally. He answers questions, follows instructions, and confirms that he's there for the package. But once the confrontation starts getting a little bit more serious and cameras are in the face, his English suddenly becomes not good. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just like awkward to watch because you can tell nobody fully knows what to do at this point. The guy starts acting confused. The YouTubers try using translation apps and someone keeps asking who his boss is. Like, the whole thing feels like a fever dream. But obviously then you remember these scammers allegedly stole more than $27 million from mostly elderly victims. And suddenly the whole goofy funeral setup, it's very deserved. It stops feeling as funny because you're like, oh wow, these people suck. I hope they get thrown in prison. Because honestly, some of the calls in this video are very hard to listen to because you can hear the scammers are specifically targeting loneliness, confusion, fear, and trust. And they keep elderly victims on the phone for hours. And unfortunately, a lot of these elderly victims don't even come forward because admitting what happened feels humiliating. And the scammers, they know that. They rely on shame almost as much as they rely on technology. And in August of 2024, authorities conducted what prosecutors describe as a nationwide takedown tied to the latest investigation, which led to Chen's arrest in the Los Angeles area. And he's since pleaded guilty to 2 conspiracy charges connected to the operation. And the first charge here is conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud, which prosecutors say carries a maximum sentence of up to 40 years in prison and a fine of up to $1 million. Then the second one is conspiracy to launder monetary instruments, which carries a potential sentence of up to 20 years in prison, along with additional financial penalties. Currently, he's scheduled to be sentenced on June 26, 2026. this. So this case will have an ending soon, but it's insane that it started with a YouTube video, and now federal prosecutors are literally referencing that same video while announcing that one of the men involved pleaded guilty to a $27 million fraud conspiracy targeting elderly victims. In fact, the press release from the United States Attorney Office literally references and links this YouTube video, which means this guy is now permanently immortalized online in two completely different ways at the same time. Because obviously, you have to federal investigators, he became part of a massive fraud and money laundering scheme, and to the internet, he became that guy who walked into a fake funeral scammer sting. Regardless, though, I'll be linking that video in the description down below. And other than that, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.